No, I think she is.
Yeah, she's hurt. She took a hard fall off there.
Okay.
Gosh, I hope she's okay.
I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. It is the Daily Puck Drop on Friday. It's your daily sports podcast broadcasting inside the Limbeck Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got you covered. Everything from free deliveries for whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbecklumber.com. Follow me on all the social media platforms, PuckSports everywhere. TikTok is Puck_sports. And of course, you can visit and find everything, including where you can sign up to become a Puck's Posse member at PuckSports.com. Ladies and gentlemen, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we are graced with a man who just wrote a story at Jim Moore, the go-to guys.substack.com. My 5 drunkest moments in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the go-to guy, Jimmy Moore.
You sit there and you rip me for that because you think I'm just going for clicks. Come on. Don't we want people to read whatever we write or whatever we say with Puck Sports, your podcast? Don't we want people to listen, to view? I said that if people ask questions, I would answer any questions they sent in. And so that was a question. I had a hard time narrowing it down to 5 drunkest moments.
That's what I thought. Go read the story at Jim Moore, the go-to guy.substack.com.
Okay. Meanwhile, I want to thank my 3 sponsors, Brian Turner from A Clean Streak, a cleaning business in Oak Harbor. He also has a professional Christmas lighting business. You know, I was at Home Depot yesterday. There's Christmas decorations and artificial Christmas trees out already. Don't get an artificial Christmas tree. Get a live tree. We live in the Northwest, okay? Get a live tree. So don't go to the Home Depot, but do get Christmas lighting on your house. Bright Owl Lighting from Brian Turner. He has it for you. He'll come all the way down to King County, depending on the size of the job. Just give him a call at 360-675-2034 for a free estimate or visit brightowllighting.com. Brad Brotherton Cadillac and Brad Brotherton Buick GMC in Renton. With a legacy of trust, quality, and unparalleled customer service, they are committed to exceeding your expectations. Experience the difference that family-owned hospitality makes in the car buying process at brothertonauto.com. And I heard it was a great time last night, the Kraken winning their season opener. You could watch the game at Climate Pledge Arena or at the Angry Beaver, where there were drunken hockey fans all over the place there at the Angry Beaver. 100% gluten-free, along with the best brisket in town.
Longest read ever.
You can catch the Mariners today at 5 o'clock. Shut the hell up. And they're opening early for the Cougs tomorrow against Ole Miss, okay, at the Angry Beaver in Greenwood. Now, what do you want now? You're telling me to shut up, the longest read ever. That was like 1 minute and 15 seconds, maybe.
Oh, it was like 15 minutes long. Okay.
No, it wasn't. It was like, what is it? It says it's 10:05 right now.
Lordy mighty. All right, it's a football Friday tailgate show. Also a Mariners.
I hate you sometimes.
Game 5 show as well. Ladies and gentlemen, on Fridays, we also get graced by Chris Egan of King 5, who I told to unmute his mic, and he still has his mic muted. Come on, Egan. Get it together. What do you got there?
I'm nervous.
Got cookies?
Cookies. You're drinking pop already?
Nah, it's bourbon, straight bourbon, buddy.
What kind of cookies?
A chocolate chip homemade from the mother-in-law. I don't know what's going on, guys. I've never been more freaking out nervous in my life than today. Why is that? Why am I so nervous about a baseball game? Why am I shaking in my pants? But before we even move on to that, Jim Moore, I'm giving a golf clap. I'm so proud of my buddy, Jason Puckett. I've never been more proud in my life. To paint the picture for you, I go to Detroit to cover the Mariners for King 5. I'm on an Alaska flight with a bunch of Mariner fans. On the way home, Jim Moore, I can't even make this stuff up. The guy next to me, he's watching Puckett. The guy in front of me is watching Puckett. Somebody 2 rows up, they're watching Puckett. Puckett has become that big, Jim Moore.
I heard it was just because they couldn't get the iHeart broadcast from KJR, and so they had to go to Plan B.
I
yes,
love it, man.
because the thing with the iHeart broadcast, what we need more of is, I'm Christy Nome. If you're an illegal immigrant, we're coming for you. Do you think they're listening to the iHeart Radio app?
Puckett, don't segue out of this. Take the applause. I'm so proud of you, buddy. It was, and I understand this podcast is doing very well, and people miss you too so much on the radio. But to see this podcast and to see people like, I'm like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. So congratulations to you. I know it's growing, but I mean, these are diehard Mariner fans. Wow. They wanted the latest news. So where do they turn? They turned to you yesterday on the flight home. So pretty cool stuff there. So congrats. Keep it going.
You asked this, why are you so nervous? Jim can summarize why we're so nervous because
of the years of history with this team, Chris. I think you realize that too, growing up in Puyallup. I mean, how many disappointments have we had? And I think we go into this game, I think, especially you, Egan, I know that you're sunshiny no matter what, but I know they're going against Scuba. Everybody knows that, but I just have a good feeling about tonight. This team seems different to me, and I know that there's always been the bugaboos in the past that they're going to blow it. This team seems too good to blow it to me.
I am with you, Jim, and I am Mr. Sunshine. But if you watch King 5 News the other night after Game 4, it wasn't so sunshine because have you ever gone into a day and just thought, okay, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to have the champagne celebration. I got my bad jacket on. How are we going to do this? They go up 3-0. I'm just already visualizing it, and then just the wheels fall off. And Paul tosses to me, and I'm just like, I don't care, Paul. Here's what Bryce Miller said. Here's what Gabe Spire said, Paul. But I will say this to any kid, any parent listening, I can't give enough credit to Gabe Spire. This is a kid. This is a young man. Not a young man. He's an adult, but he's had a phenomenal season. I think led Major League Baseball in the strikeout walk ratio. I think one of the lowest ERAs of any pitcher coming out of the bullpen. He has a very rough night in Detroit. Does he run away from the media? No. When he comes out of the training room, he sits there, answers every single question, and I would honestly feel good to see him pitching in the 7th inning tonight. I really do. I'd like to see. I don't know about you guys. I do feel good, Jim. I'd like to see Gilbert, and then obviously a little Luis Castillo, and then Munoz, and I go back and forth with Spire and Brash, but I think I'd feel good if they came out of there.
What I would want, and again, they changed it up. They're going to start with Kirby. I would have started.
I threw out Gilbert. My mind is racing here.
I would have started with Castillo and then bring Gilbert out, or bring Kirby out, just because Kirby's done it before and Castillo's has never done it. And I don't know what Castillo would be like out of the bullpen, but whatever. That's what they decided. It's got to be a combo. I don't know if it's 3 innings each, and you judge how Kirby's doing. But in a perfect world, what I want to see is Castillo, Kirby, and then Spire, Bizzardo, and maybe Munoz.
That's
what I wanted. I'll be honest with you. I have not been the doom and gloom like a lot of people have been with Matt Brash.
Yeah.
But Matt Brash does scare the hell out of me.
He's scared. Yeah. And Bizzardo seems a little more, he's had a rough inning here or there, but I think he's been better than Brash down the stretch.
Yeah. Brash, I think I think if they were to bring in Brash, and again, they will if they want to, but I think everyone collectively can say this about Matt Brash. When he comes in, you're like, I don't know which one I'm going to get. Am I going to get the guy that has the unhittable slider, or are we going to get the guy that's kind of thrown all over the place, walking the first guy?
Walking the first two. And Jim, I'm with you. I feel good about this lineup, but my God, I'm sitting there in the press box in Detroit, and in front of me is like the Detroit talk radio shows. In front of them is like the Detroit, and they're literally like, what a crap season. I mean, this is in the 5th inning. What a crap season. This is just, we haven't won here since September 6th. The crowd's booing. They're like, somebody's got to get fired. Somebody's going to get fired here. And then the next thing you know, we're going to win this series. We're going to win this.
Well, Egan, I was watching, and I was with my wife, and I just told her when it was 3-0, and the crowd is booing the home team.
Yeah,
and it just seemed like it was over. I know it was still only the 4th inning, but it just seemed like everything was falling into place and that team was not going to come back from the 3-zip deficit. Even when it was 3-1 and Miller came out, I still felt confident like they weren't going to come all the way back. And not only did they come back to take the lead, man, they just piled on with those add-on runs that baseball guys
Egan, what you have to realize about the two of us, and there's thousands and thousands of the two of us out there.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Okay.
They were watching you on the plane.
We're conditioned on Saturday to expect the worst to happen, okay, in the fall. And then when it comes to the spring and summer, I'm conditioned that every year the team's going to let me down. So right now, I'm expecting them to lose tonight. And then tomorrow, not expecting. I know they're going to lose tomorrow. It's just,
we'll cover though.
Well, and that's maybe why so many of us are nervous.
Awful.
So many of us are, because if you've been watching this team like us three have since the 70s, this is the best 1 through 9 lineup ever put on the field.
We're not that as old as he is. I was like 3 in the 70s.
Well, I was watching.
He remembers
70s.
it.
I remember the 70s. So Jim and you and I mean,
wait a minute, you're 52. What were you in 77 then, Egan?
Well, I know for a fact that my parents didn't take me to the All-Star game.
You were 4.
Yeah, you don't remember.
People don't remember stuff when they were 4.
Well, guys, I remember guys that played high school football right guard for Tumwater back in 84. I just remember weird things. But Jim, to your point, I do feel good because 1 through 9. I mean, you just got to feel like Cal Raleigh's been solid the whole way through. Julio Rodriguez, great. Games 1 and 2. You got Geno Suarez popping in game 3 with Victor Robles, Randy Arozarena, Josh Naylor coming alive in game 4. You just feel with this lineup, Dominic Canzone had a nice RBI in game 4. You just feel with this lineup, somebody in there, 1 or 2 of them, are going to be on tonight, even if it is Tarek Skubal pitching.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I saw Puck brighten up there because I heard the PuckSports podcast yesterday in which he said he's hoping that Dom Canzone starts against Skubal, even though it's lefty on lefty. And Puckett rationally explained that Canzone's been pretty good against lefties, and we don't want to see Mitch Garver anymore. So I'm on board with that too.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if this lineup comes out tonight, when it comes out and he's got Mitch Garver in there, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lose it. Now, with that being said, as Jim knows, Mitch Garver will go 3 for 4 tonight and probably will have the game-winning RBI.
That game at Wrigley, that happened.
Puck,
I know what we're doing here, and I know what I'm setting myself up with. I'm just saying, so I think this works. If Garver's in there, I'm not going to watch the game. I'm out, and I'm going to curl up. In fact, I can't even watch it. We have football practice tonight. For God's sakes, I'll be listening to the game.
Wait a minute. What?
We have football practice.
Come on. Come on, those kids want to watch the game. Those 9 and 10-year-old kids, they want to watch the game.
12. They're 12. Football's football.
Hey,
we got a big game tomorrow against Monroe. We got to buckle up for the Bearcats.
I feel like this is becoming the applaud Jason Puckett show, Jim. But
get fucking ready
Monroe's
for Monroe.
Going to win anyway.
No, they're not. Monroe, we're coming for you.
Monroe, Michael Bumpus is out there. He's got, some feeder program.
He's not there anymore. I don't think Bumpus is there anymore.
I think Bumpus got out of there.
I think he still lives there.
I think Bumpus was pushed out, Jim.
Puck, to your point, here's somebody that's been covering the Mariners for 25 years, and I get the call from my producer. The big game goes on tonight, Chris. And
you're doing the big game tonight. I can
sit there and whine and moan and be upset about it, or I can not, be hypocritical. And, I have a commercial that airs that I treat every game like it's game 7. And you know what? 5-0 Mount Tahoma, 5-0 Bellarmine Prep. I'm going to treat that like it's game 5 tonight. King 5 will be Paul Sylvie, Ariel Arsuto will be over there, and it's going to be tough, but you have to make choices, and I applaud King 5 for saying no, Egan. We've made a commitment to high school. You've made a commitment,
But if King 5 said tonight, you know what? Let's not worry about the big game tonight. We need you over there. You would have been like, okay, it's your decision.
Yes, 100%, Puckett, 100%. But I'm not going to show up to Mount Tahoma whining, I wish I wasn't here. I'm excited to. I'm excited to watch.
We've got work ethic, Jim.
Hey, Jim, with this in mind, with that game, and we'll get back to the Mariners. Better alumni base. Mount Tahoma, Ahmad Rashad, Ron Say, Art Teal, Bellarmine Prep, Kyle Stanley, John Lester, Abdul Gaddy. You go
Abdul Gaddy was a disappointment, wasn't he?
Yeah, come on, Ahmad Rashad. But let's
Say.
call him.
I got to go with Bobby Moore.
I'll
go with.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Bobby Moore.
Bobby Moore. Yeah. Okay, back to baseball. So.
And Art Teal. I'm a former.
Yeah, Art Teal. Let's go.
I got to go with him. Okay, have you guys?
NW.com. Let's go.
Okay, recency bias and all that stuff. But I told my kids this morning, and my kids are driving over from Pullman.
Great story.
To Seattle.
Got tickets from Bud Withers. He got tickets from Bud Withers. His kids are missing school. Great idea, driving over. Good for them.
And I'm paying, and Bud's giving me a deal because his tickets are $800. They're $400 each, but he's giving them to me for $650. So what's that? $325 each. And I just thought, you know what? I mean, I just remember back in '78 when I was 21 years old, waiting at Fidelity line all night to get tickets to go to Game 7 to watch the Sonics and Bullets. And I thought, God, my kids are 21. This is a big deal to them. So what the hell? I'm going to blow $600 on a couple of tickets so my kids can have a memory of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I'm thinking, have you ever wanted the Mariners to win more in their history than you want them to win tonight?
Yeah,
I mean, it's right up there with. Because I'm thinking about my kids, my mom, all these suffering Mariner fans. I want to see some tears. I want to see some tears and joy at the ballpark.
And Jim, to your defense, like unless somebody's struggling to make their mortgage or car payment, how many times did you look back 10 years later and say, "God, I wish I wouldn't have spent that much money on a game"? I don't think anybody's ever really.
Well, plus I can't afford to send them to the ALCS if they make it or the World Series. Puckett tweeted out the tickets in the left field bleachers are $900 a piece for the World Series.
There was one guy in the plane 2 rows up from me. He is a big Husky fan. He was leaving this morning he must be doing okay on his boat because he does the Husky tailgating party. So he was taking a crew over there. Then he said he was going to hop on a bus to go down to T-Mobile, watch the Mariners game, and then after the game, leave and check out the second half of the Husky game, and then take his boat back. That's not bad.
Good for him.
Jesus. Welcome.
How many Husky fans are going to bail on the Huskies tonight and be watching the Mariners? What do you think?
Well, I would hope so. They're playing Rutgers. They should be up by like 30. I mean, I would if the Cougars were playing tonight here, I wouldn't watch a second of it. A second of it.
I would. Come on. Get the split screen thing. YouTube TV has that split screen thing going on.
Yeah, but can you get split screen on your phone? Actually, can I do that? Yeah.
Okay, so you got Canzone in the lineup tonight, right, Puck?
Well, Canzone. I would, but he's not going to do it. He's going to put Garver in there, and I'm going to throw up. I just don't want to see him in there. But again, now that I'm saying all this, Garver's going to be the hero of the game.
And we'll applaud you. We won't mock you. We'll applaud you for sparking Garver, as I'm
Go
sure
look
right
at their
now.
Numbers. They got the same numbers against lefties. It's less at-bats, but it's the same deal. Who would you let me ask both of you this. Jim, you can answer first. Who do you want to go down swinging with? Who would you choose? You want to go down swinging with Canzone or Garver?
No, I'm with you on Canzone and the chef's kiss and that whole thing. And Canzone, he had 2 home runs in one game. I mean, he's been hot down the stretch. So why not? How does a guy ever get better against a left-handed pitcher if you don't send him out there to try and have him hit against him?
Overthink it. We just overthink it.
Puck, here's the thing with baseball. I think anybody that's coached it, watched it, stats don't lie. Was Garver amazing? Did he have a lot of home runs? Was that this season? No.
Oh, out.
Dominic Canzone, stat-wise, is one of the best hitters on this Mariners baseball team. We've seen it. He should be in the lineup tonight. He should be hitting.
Who's going to be, if there's going to be someone else not named like the big group, right? Cal, Julio, Chris Egan, who's the hero tonight potentially? Maybe you just named him. Maybe you just named him in Canzone.
Well, I think we're going to see a player that had success against Scooble come through again, and that's the great story of Jorge Polanco, a young man that What are you laughing at?
Well, Puck and I mean, we know each other so well. We did the eyes thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Did you know this stat from Alex Meyer that he's the only one to homer off Tarek Skubal twice in one game without blinking?
Without blinking. I've heard that story. I've heard that stat. But I mean, There's no,
So
there's
dumb.
no. I mean, you said not mention Cal. Cal is on fire right now, and you said find somebody. And when you look at stat
Okay.
wise, Blanco, in my
Okay.
mind, he's the best bet to do something off of Scooble tonight. I mean, you're going to expect to see Scooble go at least 8 innings tonight. There's no way AJ Hinch is going out there and pulling him out of the game.
Well, he's got three home runs against Scooble in his career. Obviously, 2 happening in one game. He's hitting 310 against him. JP Crawford's the best against him. It's only an 8 at bats, but he's hitting 625. Other than that, the best is a Rose Arena in 21 ABs, 286. You had mentioned, what is Cal? Cal's not had much success, but he has a home run. He's 167 off him in his career. Julio in 11 at bats is 182. So, I mean, but yeah, I could pull up Scooble's numbers against everybody, and they'd be like that.
Well, and with the former University of Oregon pitcher Tarek Scooble, I'm trying to make sure that he has no association to Seattle anymore, guys. So I'm trying to, in my mind,
So you call him from Oregon now? You calling him a Duck? Oh.
He's a Duck. He played for the Ducks.
Now, my ideal scenario tonight is to see Randy with a walk-off homer. And Rose Arena, when he was in Tampa Bay, he had staggering, postseason numbers. Okay. And so I want to see him rounding the bases, doing the arms folded, doing the basketball shot, doing everything that he does, getting the trident, and everybody celebrating. So I think
how about an applause real quick? I mean, we're talking about Scooble, played at Seattle U, but Matt Boyd of the Cubs and Blake Snell, Shorewood High School, 2 local kids. Just great to see these guys doing well. Congrats, Matt Boyd, helping the Cubs get the win last night. So pretty awesome stuff.
You brought up Spire, and I just quickly I want to pivot to the Keckering kid for the Phillies. Like, the Dodgers are going to take the win, but when you make an error like that guy made last night, and then you feel awful for him. There's a story written in The Athletic about him, and how once he got done with all his interviews yesterday, he got dressed, went out to the dugout, and sat there for like an hour and looked at the mound. I mean, that guy has made that play a million times. How many times in spring training have they done, the fielding practice there for the pitchers? How many times is that scenario? Ball comes back to me, I bobble it, go to first, get the out.
Yeah.
And he
or he still had time to make a good throw home, too. Throw.
But but he didn't need to go home. He needed to go to first.
I know, but it was a forced out at home, though, too. So
but just go to first. And then you feel for him, and then you're like, oh, gosh, the families, because you get on these plane rides and you travel sometimes with the families and the amount of families. Speaking of plane ride, guys, how about this story? This was absolutely hilarious yesterday. The plane lands from Detroit. It's 95% Mariner fans. So we're in rolling into SEA, and we're at Carousel 14 to pick up our bags. Between Carousel 14, there's like an escalator, and there's a guy, a limo Uber driver, holding up a sign. And the sign, I can't make this stuff up, says Ken Griffey Jr.
No way.
I'm like, what? So the reporter and me, we go over and ask, and he goes, yeah, I'm picking up Griffey Jr. He's coming in for the game. He's coming in from Orlando. He just happens to be holding the sign next to like 200 Mariner fans. So sure enough, coming up the escalator, backwards hat on and sunglasses on, it's Ken Griffey Jr. And then the Mariner fans, he's probably thinking all these fans are waiting for him to arrive in Seattle.
Don't you go with an alias?
That's what I thought. I'm like, when you think about Seattle sports, that name is the most popular name of all time. Wouldn't you go with like KG or
Bobby Ayala? I don't know.
Awesome.
Just anything but Griffey. So you think he's
have him throw out the first pitch tonight?
I would assume he's throwing out the first pitch. I'll say this: Griffey took a couple selfies. The Mariner fans ran over there. He did a couple selfies, then he got out of there with his driver. But I think Kevin Martinez, who I'm calling AKA Walt Disney, who just continues to write it was Kevin Martinez, guys, that you won't see this on the broadcast or anywhere, that went to center field to find the dump here fan. And then Kevin Martinez brought him all the way back to meet Cal. And of course runs into the media like yours truly. And the next thing you know, this thing is dump here fan becomes like biggest
What
fan.
was it like being around that guy? I mean, he just seems so starstruck and just.
Well, so Kevin Martinez brings him back as we're waiting to get in the locker room, and I got a text from my wife and one of our producers like, you need to find that fan. And I honestly was on my way down, so I didn't even know what was going on.
You missed it.
So I'm like, what happened? They're like, oh, this guy caught the ball. He was wearing a thing. I'm like, okay. And I see Kevin Martinez and his crew, and he brings him back, and they're just waiting there. So I'm like, yeah. Hey, Kevin, can I interview him? And he's like, yeah. And so I start interviewing him, and the next thing you know, like 10 cameras. And this guy's just like, whoa.
Yes.
But
he was great.
Nice guy. He had fun with it. Good guy. Former Auburn High Trojan, I found out. Grew up in Longview, now lives in Las Vegas. But yeah, it's fun stuff.
All right, now I'm going to ask you. I want you to just project it. This is going to be negative. Now it's going to be negative, and I don't want it to be. If they get eliminated, what's your reaction going to be?
I'm just gonna eat.
Just eat.
8 days straight.
Just eat, binge eating.
If they get eliminated, I'm not gonna do the tweet like you're gonna see from a few Homer media. Thanks for the great season. Love you guys.
Who's the Homer media?
I don't know. There'll be a couple of them you can watch. Hopefully we don't see that tonight. Hopefully we don't see the thanks for the memories and the moments. One of those tweets.
Yeah. Great year.
Like JP Crawford is going to really watch the media. Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate the tweet. Thanks for the memories. No, I'm going to be pissed off. I'll binge eat.
People should be pissed if they don't win tonight. They don't get out of the ALDS.
I'll be upset
with that lineup, with that staff. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, drink a little bit tonight. I don't know. Well, Jim, what are you going to do?
Jim
is
one of these.
Bad for him. I'm going to be disappointed. I'm not going to be looking for someone to blame or feeling like sports talk show host guy. Like, okay, let's figure out why they didn't win. I mean, not tonight. Maybe next week. What went wrong with the Mariners for next week? We talk about that
next week. But I mean, you would acknowledge if they can't get out of the divisional round.
Well,
that's a failure, right?
We could go back 4 weeks on this show where you ask us, what we would consider a disappointment, and I said
World Series.
If they don't make the World Series, that for me that was So I'm not going to be rosy and rainbows and Puyallup tomorrow, Jim. But I like Jim as we started this show, Puck. I have a good feeling tonight. I don't know. I'm nervous, but I have a good feeling.
If Naylor gets on, what is the hand and arm movement tonight if Naylor gets on second? Is he doing like just everything? Just waving.
If you're Dylan Dingler, which I love that name. If you're him, don't you like try and cross him up with this guy out at second? I'm sick of him doing the airplane motion and everything. I'm gonna change things up. I'm gonna make it look like I'm going inside because you can't really steal signals anymore. I mean, they're doing it electronically.
Yeah, they got the headset on.
Naylor's picking up some reads though.
Well, if he's actually doing that. See, I'm kind of more leaning towards it's all BS.
I think so too, Puck. I really do.
I just think he's doing it just to get in the pitcher's head that he is picking something up. Maybe he is, but I would lean more towards he's not picking anything up.
No, I think you're 100%. I think Naylor is a very strong.
Yeah.
He's the guy you don't want to face I'll say this like in singles tennis or pickleball because he just gets in your head. I mean,
he's an animal.
He's an animal, and he will beat you mentally if you let him. And because I was watching the picture, and it was hard, from my angle in the press box. I'm like, what is he seeing? Because it was really hard.
He maybe could get a glimpse into his glove to maybe see what he was gripping, maybe, or the glove plate. I don't
put it past him though, because he picks up on reads when he's getting all these stolen bases. But the old school baseball in me, Egan, I want to see the Tigers, throw a little inside at Naylor, maybe a little too close for comfort, and I want to see the benches empty. I want to see. I think it'd be fun to have a Game 5 brawl out there, and Naylor would be kicking ass. I wouldn't want any part of Naylor.
You saw it in the last game when Carpenter tried to run him over at first, and Naylor just Carpenter went tumbling down and nailed. It didn't even look like it phased Naylor. He's like, okay, I'm good.
Would you want any part of Josh Naylor in
No.
a alley
And
fight?
he's actually really funny, guys.
No.
So we finished interviewing Cal Raleigh, and it's myself. You got Q13, you got Como, you got Ryan Divish, you got Daniel Kramer, you got Adam Jude, Shannon Dreyer. So it's a pretty tight hallway, and we're walking out of there, and Naylor's coming through, and he's like, lots of people, lots of people, lots of people, lots of people.
All right, Egan, give me a final score. What do you think?
Well, I think the Mariners win it tonight, guys. I think your final is going to be 3-1. Seattle Mariners, get on board the Mariner Express. We're heading to Toronto. I'm saying 3-1. My collective pick, Mr. Polanco, with a 2 RBI base hit to the corner pocket. So not a home run, but he's going to have a nice little hit that's going to drive home too. I don't know where we get our third run, but I think the combination Kirby, Castillo, Bizzardo, and Munoz. I'm going with you, Puck, because Brash does scare me. I wouldn't mind seeing him in games 1, 2, and 3 in Toronto, but maybe not tonight. I think that combination's I don't think this Detroit lineup is that good. And I think with our pitching, it's very good, and they're going to be on tonight. So I think 3-1 Mariners win it, moving on to the ALCS.
And with the 2 people watching tonight on the King 5 Plus stream, Mount Tahoma, Bellarmine Prep.
Well, my wife did inform me that humbly. She said, honey, I think more people are going to be watching the game tonight. And I said, well, honey, the stream actually gets more plays on Saturday and Sunday when the kids go home. So I'm gonna pump it up like it's game 7, Bellarmine Prep 5-0, Mount Tahoma 5-0. And when these kids go home on Saturday and Sunday to watch it, you know what? We'll be there for him.
Good for you, Egan. I can't believe he gave you a hard time about that. He should be canceling that football practice tonight is what he should be doing. So the kids can watch the game. They're going to get blown out by Monroe anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
a practice.
On.
There you go. That's really nice to say about a bunch of 12-year-olds.
Coach Chris would have canceled the practice.
Well, Coach Chris, that you're a soccer coach. That's why you would have canceled it. He coaches soccer.
It'll do more for team morale if they could get together with the team and watch the game somewhere.
Football, baseball, tennis, basketball, 98.9% win percentage over the years. Who's counting? But
football players are built a little differently. All right, Egan, we'll see you next week. Thank you, sir.
All right, boys. Love you. Go get a win.
Egan, King 5 News. Catch him tonight, King 5, big game of the week, Mount Tahoma against Bellarmine Prep. Maybe our next guest has a line on that game tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, he joins us every single Friday to get you set up all your betting picks for the weekend. Well, he was there. Now he's gone. I was going to just introduce Troy West, and he's in the green room, and then he went away.
Where'd Troy go?
I don't know.
Probably make another bet wherever he is, whatever casino
he was there, and then he's gone. So I don't know where he's at. We'll get him back on here in a second. Oh, there he is. Troy West from TroyWins.com is with us. Hello, Troy. How are you?
How we doing, guys? Good to see you. Are you guys at Monroe tomorrow, Puck?
Monroe High School tomorrow. Is that your stomping grounds, Monroe?
By that. Oh, I'm about 5 minutes from Monroe. I'll have to come take a look.
Well, we'll
right, Troy. What are the odds you're going to go to Monroe High School to watch 12-year-olds play tomorrow?
I want to see Puckett run the wing tee. I've heard that's one of the better offenses around.
We'll be exiting at 7 o'clock with victory in hand, and the bus is going back to Ballard. All right, Troy, let's get you covered. And let's get our listeners and viewers all covered on the games this week in our handicapper, TroyWins.com. All right, let's start first college football. Washington and Rutgers, and the Puppies big favorites tonight, right? 10.5 at home.
Somewhat of a revenge game, a get-back game from last year, traveling into Rutgers and dropping that one. I'm going to be very curious what kind of atmosphere they'll get tonight. I don't necessarily love that aspect of it. I can't imagine that's a ruckus Friday night crowd, but I guess we'll see. But I will take the Huskies more so because that's a tough travel game for Rutgers on a short week coming all the way from New York into Seattle. Give me Washington 35-21.
Hey, Troy, this is a great game you have here. Missouri at home getting 2.5 as a home dog against Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, is he going to go in there and beat him?
This line was a little bit of a head scratcher for me, and I think the public's going to be all over Alabama. They've looked good the last few weeks, so give me Missouri fading the public on this one. Missouri at home. Anytime you see that home dog and that 2.5 number, I like it. So give me Missouri plus 2.5. I think they win this game 31-28.
Jim, you asked the next game because you love this more than I do.
I do love this game, and it appears that Troy does too. I just don't understand. I know that the talent disparity is off the charts with Ole Miss, number 4 in the country, against the number 1 team in the Pac-2, Washington State, getting 31.5 in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm betting that with both hands on the Cougs, Troy. How about you?
I like the Cougs. I think it's a lot of points. It'll be interesting to see. To me, it's just one of those games. Ole Miss, it's a sandwich game. Are they really going to – no offense, guys. Are they going to get up for this one? I don't know. I think it's a big, big game for the Cougs, not a big game for the Rebels. I think Ole Miss wins this one. I think it's a 38-24 type of game, 31-20 type of game. But I'll take the Cougs to get within that 30 points. I sure hope so.
Okay, the Oregon Ducks are at home. I think game day is there in Eugene. They're taking on a top 10 team in the Indiana Hoosiers. Ducks are favored by 7.5.
Yeah, it's a big number, but I think it deserves it. The Ducks have been just solid this year. Boy, Moore, a lot of people are down on this guy. They're talking about Moore being the number 1 pick now next year in a lot of mock drafts. This guy's an absolute stud. As much as I don't necessarily like the guy, Lanning's done a phenomenal job. That place to be rocking. I think Cignetti's in trouble tomorrow. Oregon in a big way, 42-24. I'm taking the Ducks.
Good.
All right, in the NFL, the early game, the Seahawks in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville coming off a nice Monday night win against Kansas City. They're favored by 1.5 over the Seahawks.
Well, I gave you guys Tampa Bay last week. This one shapes well for Seattle. It does. Short week, coming off the big high for Jacksonville, getting that win against the Chiefs. But I've actually said at the beginning of the year, I think Jacksonville's the real deal. I think Cohen's a damn good coach. Trevor Lawrence looks comfortable in that offense. Until that Seahawks secondary can really shore up, I just can't back them in this spot. I think Trevor Lawrence has a big game, close one. I take Jacksonville 27-24.
All right, the last game in the NFL, I almost called them the Tigers. The Lions on the road against Kansas City, getting 2.5.
Yeah, I've been down on Kansas City all year. They've struggled most of the season. Lions right now, the hottest team in football without a doubt. I don't know how you don't take them in this spot. I'm taking Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. I think they win this game. I just think they're the better team right now, and they're the hot hand. So give me the Lions 31-24.
Okay.
Hey, Troy, before Puck gets to your lock of the week, I'd be interested to hear how you're handicapping the Tigers and Mariners tonight. The last I saw, the Tigers were favored -120, and the Mariners were like a pick 'em at +100.
The total's 5.5, which is hilarious because you don't see 5.5 ever. I mean, you just don't. But you actually saw it in Game 2, Castillo versus Skubal, and the final score was 3-2. So I think it's going to just be another good old-fashioned pitching fest. I'd probably lean under 5.5, and I'd go Mariners to win a very similar game to Game 2. I think it's a 3-2 type of baseball game.
3-2. Well, we'll take that. All right, let's get to your lock of the week. You're 3-2. I think you had Carolina last week, right? Carolina over Miami. What's your lock of the week this week?
Yeah, I'm going into South Bend. Give me NC State. This is a good NC State team. I mean, I'm shocked, led by C.J. Bailey, a great quarterback. They're getting 22.5 points against Notre Dame. That's way too much respect. Very, very rarely do you see Notre Dame run up the score and blow out teams. Give me NC State to keep it close. I think they probably lose this game 31-24, but I'll take 22.5 points for the Wolfpack.
Okay, Jim Moore. You lost last week. You had the Longhorns against Florida. You're 2-1. What about this week?
Well, nobody else in the world will have this lock of the week, and I don't care because I love it. I'm betting with my heart and not my head on this one because I know the Beavers are going to come through for us this week. The Beavers are getting 2.5 in Corvallis, the chainsaw. Hey, Jake Dickert, you're going to go home a loser. All right. I'm taking the Beavers, my lock of the week.
You took my game. God dang it.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
Look at you guys. Both on the 0-6 Beavs. Come on,
I want that son of a bitch to leave Corvallis with his tail between his legs. Come on, Beavs. Get off the schneid and get a victory. All right. I will take. You know what? I'll dip. I don't know if he's going to play. There's been rumors that he will, but I don't believe in Texas at all. And I think Arch Manning is one of the most and it's not his fault, most overhyped quarterbacks that we've ever seen. And maybe Mateer plays, maybe he doesn't, but that defense is legitimate. That defense is scary good for Oklahoma. That's really the story of the year for the Sooners. Give me Oklahoma -1.5 against Texas in the Red River Shootout.
I like it.
That's my lock of.
When's Mateer coming back? Do we have any idea on that?
There's been a thought that he could come back tomorrow.
God, I want him to get back in that Heisman race.
Yeah, so we'll see if he does come back tomorrow, but maybe that's just a long shot. Troy, before you leave, tell everyone how they can get involved there at TroyWins.com.
Yeah, guys, we're running $100 a month right now. That's 30 days, $100. I think it's the best bargain going. We've been red hot as of late. We're covering everything. We're off to a 4-0 start, even in hockey, guys. So come take a look. It's TroyWins.com. I think it's a one-stop shop in this industry, and if you're not satisfied, we'll give you your money back guaranteed.
Thank you, Troy. TroyWins.com with us every Friday, handicapping all the action in college football and the NFL. Thank you, Troy. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week.
See you guys. See you, Jim.
There he is. It's Troy West, TroyWins.com. I'll send you $1. All right. So, God, you took my you took my Beavers game. God dang it, man. I really wanted the Beavers.
I'm not laughing about that. You know what I'm laughing about.
I know. I really wanted the Beavers.
God, I'm a funny bastard, man. I just am funny as hell sometimes.
Yeah, you are great. Everybody.
I wish we could tell everybody what we're laughing about.
The Beavs. Yeah, come on, Beavs. Get off the schneid. Get a win. It'd be great. All right, before you go, you confident about tonight?
I am confident.
Okay.
I am. I'm going to bet $100 on the Mariners. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just ride it and see if they can duplicate what they did in game 2.
Okay.
I know you wanted Castillo to start tonight. I'm happy that Kirby's starting. I don't know what they're going to do when Carpenter comes around the third time in the lineup. If they're going to, let him pitch to him or not, probably depends on how dominant he is in the first, 4 innings.
The game, the score, the situation. Yeah, all of that. I mean, I'm not like ranting and raving that Kirby got the nod. Think it would have made more sense to have Castillo go. I think Kirby would be better used out of the bullpen, but whatever. Tonight is.
What's funny is that I think every Mariner fan is probably most scared of Kerry Carpenter, and he's 1 for 17 in the series. That home run is the only hit he has.
He scares everybody. I mean,
I know.
Just does.
I know.
It just that is. Well, and part of it, I think, is that AJ Hinch has put that fear, I think in Dan Wilson's head, and it's put that fear in a lot of Mariners people's head, just this Kerry Carpenter matchup. It's just, it's so scary. It's so scary. I'm going to move him up, hit him leadoff. So I make you go and use Gabe Spire early. I mean, okay.
I know everybody hates AJ Hinch because he was with the cheating Astros and all that, but I've gained a lot of respect for him during this series, hearing the interviews. He's so candid with the interviews and then the moves that he makes. Yeah, he's a great manager.
Very good manager. All right, so what do you think the final is?
I'm going to go with 5-2 Mariners.
5-2, knock him out early.
It's one of those things where it's so obvious to go on the under 6 or 5.5. A 3-2 game like in game 2. But I think the Mariners are going to get untracked a little bit tonight, or enough to at least win the game and have that number go over. So I'm going to go with 5-2.
Godspeed to you tonight. Go M's.
Go M's.
Go Kathy Moore and her little dancing thing that she does with her wine and her it looks like a witch hat that she's wearing.
God, she spilled the wine on the couch last night.
Well, that happens.
She was throwing cookies to me and knocked over a wine glass. An amateur move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then good luck to our Cougs tomorrow, bright and early in Ole Miss, taking on the Rebels. All right, hopefully it's a great night this evening in the city of Seattle. All right, we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, go M's, go Cougs.
There is. Go Cougs, go M's. Jim Moore with us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Brought to you by A Clean Streak, also Brotherton Cadillac, and the Angry Beaver. Our Football Friday tailgate show, we've done a lot of baseball, not a lot of football, rolls on. Coming up, we've got Todd Milles, VarsityWaNews.com to get you updated and covered on the very latest in high school football tonight and this weekend. And then it's the last word with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. That's right. The Seahawks have a game this weekend. They're taking on Jacksonville. Unbelievable. First up, though, Todd Milles.
Gets it to Jones. Jones right up the middle. Touchdown, Eastside Catholic. Rolling out is Cobb. Now he goes back. Oh, it's intercepted.
Oh, my goodness. And it,
on the way.
Fast.
Jason Wilson could go. Yes. Touchdown, Irish. Rolling to the near side.
He's keeping it. He's in.
And he's in for the touchdown. Leo.
9, 8, 7, Moser. Has to go. 2 seconds. He puts it back.
And it's time for Friday Night Lights with our good friend Todd Milles of VarsityWaNews.com. He joins us every single Friday to give you the very latest and get you previewed and up to date and covered for all things high school football. Hello, Todd. How are you on this Friday?
Hey, Jace. I'm doing well, man. First 5 weeks of high school football season. Worn shorts, a polo jacket, and maybe a light jacket at night. I think the weather's officially turned, and now it's football season.
It sure has. For people that don't know, quickly give them the cliff notes of VarsityWaNews.com and what they're going to get.
Yeah, we just spent all day yesterday, combing every available stat to try and come up with a statewide leaderboard for 11-man football. We've got the top 25 in passing, rushing, receiving. It's about as accurate, I think, as you're going to get, given the fact that sometimes people hide their stats in shadows somewhere. So we're giving people a little bit of everything. Two podcasts a week. We have a state game of the week, and I'll be in Anacortes tonight for the big one with Archbishop Murphy. A notebook from Eastern Washington, Western Washington rankings. Just the normal statewide expertise you'd expect from two old newspaper people.
Yeah, you and Lauren do such a great job. It is just a fantastic site. VarsityWaNews.com. The podcast is great. It's up on YouTube. In addition to that, it's up on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's just great. The breakdown of all the stat leaders is awesome. All the stories that you have in there. I love the feature. And I want people to go read it of kind of the surprise stories this year. And there's a few teams like Mount Vernon and Renton. There's a really good story about an offensive lineman turned fullback from Onalaska. Onalaska is near and dear to my heart. When I got started in the business, I did some of those games in that area. It's just great football, and it's great communities down there. Let's get to the big games of the weekend. Here's a game that you're going to be at. This is going to be just a fantastic football game at the 2A level. Anacortes 4-1 on the season, taking on undefeated Archbishop Murphy.
Yeah, contrast in styles. I mean, these two teams played last year. Archbishop Murphy handed Anacortes its only loss. What was it, 34-28? There was a pick six by Cole Sievers at the end of the first half that really turned that game. But it also really provided Anacortes some fuel to get right and en route to its back-to-back state championships. This game, Friday, tonight, will be played in Anacortes. Anacortes is, given the fact that they're a little undersized on defense, Jason, they've done pretty well against power rush teams, wing T teams like Tumwater in both state championship games. But Archbishop Murphy might be a little bit different animal with their personnel. I mean, they're big and powerful. They scrimmaged O'Day in the summer, and it was a stalemate at the Steve Jervis PLU camp. They are really, really physical. One of the more physical 2A teams in recent memory. They've got Andrew Lucas leading their cadre of running backs. That's the younger brother of Abe Lucas from the Seattle Seahawks. His first year running the football. The Seaver brothers. You got Henry Cabales. Just a lot of D1 talent everywhere. That's going to be a tough matchup, but if there's one type of team that maybe could give Archbishop Murphy fits, it's the passing attack of Anacortes, led by Ryan Harrington. He's the number 2 passer in the state with over 1,500 yards. Some really good guys in that pass catching core. Micah Dickinson, Zeke Hawkins, Luca Moore. This is a team that's going to be motivated from dropping a game last week at Squalicum. They've been really circling this game, not only because of what happened last year, but this is number one versus number two, and Anacortes does not want to see this league championship thing get away from them. If they win this week, that means they have wins against Linden and Archbishop Murphy, the co-favorites, and would put them back in the driver's seat. I expect a really good game, maybe a little bit of rain up there in Anacortes tonight, but two heavy hitters in 2A, the classification game of the year, no doubt.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. 3A level, this should be a great game as well. Bellevue 3-2 at Skyline, and Skyline, as you wrote at VarsityWanews.com, might be one of the, I guess, maybe minor surprises this year, but 4-1 and a great game up on the plateau this evening.
I think Peyton Pallur should be paying us for all this publicity we're giving him on a weekly basis. I think this is the fourth consecutive week we've talked about them, but they keep winning, and they beat Eastlake last week. They're in the driver's seat for that number one seed out of 4A Kinko, and now they can go win the upper division of the Kinko by knocking off the defending league champs. Number one rush offense in Kinko and Bellevue, 311 yards per game against the number one run defense in Skyline at 85 yards per game. Bellevue's going to get all-state fullback Max Jones back. He's been out the last couple of weeks. That's been a huge missing piece, especially last week in the loss to Bothell. This is, the wing tee. They have not faced the wing tee yet. It's going to be a real challenge for this really good Skyline defense. Skyline's going to have to score some points in this game. And in the quick passing game, we've talked about him. Ben Odom has been fantastic. He's among the state leaders in passing. He's got two really good receivers in Bupe Chianga and Luke Morgan. Utilizing both of those guys, they have 46 of his 82 completions. And Skyline gets a home game. It's in front of the home crowd. They get to welcome Bellevue to their place tonight. This is their toughest test easily, I think, to date. That Bellevue wing tee is going to be nasty with Max Jones back, and they're angry for dropping a game last week. But hey, anytime a big game happens on the plateau, it's good for football.
Yeah, it's be great. Also, another great game this evening in the 3A Wesco South Division. Mount Lake Terrace undefeated at 5-0, taking on another undefeated team in Shorewood at 5-0.
Yeah, we did the story about, four of the best surprise stories going on around the state at the midseason point. These two, especially Shorewood, could have qualified for that. I mean, Shorewood has had more over seasons than winning seasons. I mean, last year, their 6-4 year under Rob Patchell was their first winning season in more than 2 decades. I mean, this is a team that's been one of the worst programs in the state, and now they're knocking on the door for a divisional championship. A really good matchup, Jason, of dual threat quarterbacks. Mason Wilson at Mount Lake Terrace. He was an all-league guy last year. He has 1,200 yards of total offense already. Julian Woodruff, he didn't even start the season as the starter. He came in week 3 because of an injury and has played fantastic the last couple weeks. I think Mount Lake Terrace, with their 17 returning starters, they were kind of picked as the team to maybe end Monroe's half-decade reign as divisional champions in the Wesco. But Shorewood was also highly thought of in the offseason, especially in the job that Rob has done. I like Mount Lake Terrace's defense a little bit better, and they're at home tonight. But two really, really good stories of programs that have not won a league or divisional championship this century.
Let's, if we can, quickly highlight the game where Chris Egan will be at tonight, because Chris makes me promote his game there in the King 5 big game of the week. He's got Mount Tahoma, who's undefeated against Bellarmine Prep, which is 4-1. Mount Tahoma's been a great story, right? They had that game earlier this season. They went down to Camas and beat the Papermakers on their own field. So can Bellarmine Prep pull off the upset here this evening?
Well, Burke Johnston, who's the reigning offensive MVP of the 3A PCL, is going to have a huge game, and he's had a big year in leading Bellarmine Prep to a 4-1 start. But Jason, this Mount Tahoma defense is nasty. I mean, they took out one of the best quarterback prospects in the state last week in Sione Cajo at Lincoln of Tacoma. I mean, he was in front of Andrew Luck, mind you. Sione was harassed all night, didn't really get anything going except a long touchdown pass. They've got 8 guys that are over, on their line that are over 280 pounds. Mika Cordero, is one of those backyard quarterbacks that you just love watching. It doesn't look pretty all the time, but he just makes winning plays. Elijah Durr going to the Washington Huskies, their two-way standout at receiver and defensive back. This is their year. They have so many seniors. Not only is Mount Tahoma the heavy favorite tonight, I would suspect they're probably a favorite to be penciled in at least the semis in 3A. We have them ranked number 3 in 3A, and I think that's a pretty good spot for them.
All right. Last thing for you. Let's go back to last week. You were there. Just how dominant was Puyallup's win over Sumner?
Yeah, it was really, really impressive. They were fired up. They treated it like it was the biggest rivalry game in the Valley. Saturday night, the place was rocking. It was packed. And quite frankly, Jason, Sumner came out a little emotionally flat for whatever reason. They've played a really tough schedule. Puyallup scored on every drive, but the interception in the first half. They've got everything you want in a team that can go win a state championship, especially talent. And hey, we talked about a lot about guys whose dads and uncles and stuff play in the NFL. Lawson Looker kind of gets lost in their really talented receiving core. It's Dane Looker's son who played at the U and obviously with the St. Louis Rams. He's their deep threat. A lot faster than Dane Looker, but had a big game last week with Josiah Mitchell. And Noah Smith made his debut as a transfer. He had to sit out the first 4 games. They are loaded with talent. They are loaded with offensive firepower. And oh, by the way, good luck trying to score and move the ball on that defense.
He's simply one of the best. If you love high school coverage of all sports, but right now football, there just is no other better site than VarsityWaNews.com. You can also follow it on social media, Varsity Wa News as well. He's going to have a podcast that's going to come out around midnight tonight, where he and guests recap all of the action from across the state. So give that a listen and give it a follow. Friday Night Lights with Todd Milles every single Friday, talking high school football. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate the support.
All right, coming up next, it is the last word on the Seattle Seahawks with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. But first, let's get a word from Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
You know that if you prepare well, your team is probably going to play well. You're not always going to win, but they're going to play hard, and they're going to go out there and give good performance. You can live with that.
Today we're going to talk about our next opponent.
And here we go. It's the last word with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times as Chuck Knox brings you in. Of course, his weekly appearance with us on Fridays, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie Zaffa, Rogers Pilsner, Georgetown's new tavern beer, and their tasting room and beer garden open daily from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit georgetownbeer.com. All right, Bob Condotta, you get set to get on a plane coming up tomorrow to fly to beautiful Jacksonville. You and I always start every Friday with a real uplifting, topic. It's the injury report. It has always been lengthy here for the last few weeks. So let's get the latest on where the Seahawks stand on the injury front.
Yeah. Well, Josh, 2 things I think we know for sure. Josh Jones is going to be out, which means, their depth on the offensive line so far, it hasn't mattered. But with him being out, he's really the only experienced guy that they have that has much experience anyway as a depth guy on the offensive line. And then it's, Oluwatimi and Bryce Cabledew and Mason Richmond. That was what we saw last week as the 3 other linemen behind the starting 5, but he's going to be out again. And then Derek Hall, it sounds like, is going to be out. Mike McDonald didn't explicitly declare him out the other day, but said he's week to week, and we haven't seen him at practice. And he's kind of had the look of when we have seen him of somebody who looks like he's not playing this week. So, those can be kind of a hard, the the kind of midsection injury he has. Like those kind of things could be tricky. The really two big things to watch today when they're going to release their injury report later are the statuses of Julian Love and Devin Witherspoon, and then Reek Woolen as well. Reek Woolen is in the concussion protocol. He did practice on a limited basis the last couple of days, but it is literally a protocol. It's got like a 5-step thing. You've got to be able to go from one to the next to the next to the next. But doing what he did, getting on the field and practicing somewhat, is part of the protocol. So, I'm sure it sounded like they hope he's on the right track and doing the right things to be able to get cleared to play. Love and Witherspoon have not done anything all week again, and they didn't last week either, and then didn't play. And, so how much of a chance they have of coming back, we'll see. I think ideally they would like those guys to practice a little bit. So we'll see if they even get out there some today, and maybe it gives them a chance to show them on game day that they can play or not. The good news there is they're probably a little better positioned to figure out how to play without those guys this week after what happened last week. I think last week it did, I think, catch up to them, all the injuries they sort of had in the back end, especially when Woolen then went out sort of midway through the game. Maybe Mike McDonald saw some things there, and we'll know, to kind of work around a little bit. But you saw last week, Ty Okada started and played the whole game in place of Love. And then, with Witherspoon, they basically had to play kind of reconfigure some things in the quarterback spot, and Darian Kendrick basically played a lot more, and then Nehemiah Pritchett had to play when Woolen went out. What I would expect they would probably do, and I could be wrong on this, but probably elevate Shaquille Griffin this time off the practice squad so they could use him some to fill out some there as well. It didn't sound, the rest of the injury stuff sounds like it's going to be fine. Ernest Jones didn't practice on Wednesday, but he has not practiced at times this year with the shoulder thing that he has, and then has played. So I would imagine that's what's going on there. He was just kind of getting some rest there, and I think all the rest were guys who were limited or whatever and look like they'll be back. Nick Amenwari didn't practice on Wednesday, but was a full participant yesterday, and it doesn't sound like his injury just kind of sounded like it was just kind of a little tweak of the injury he'd had before, but nothing serious.
Bob, I'll apologize if you've covered this somewhere in the paper on social media and I just missed it, where everyone's caught up in Mariners fever. Okay, got a big game tonight, Bob. Game 5 against the Tigers. Witherspoon underwent for an MRI. Did we ever hear the results of that?
Mike McDonald was really vague when he was asked about that, and so he was flat out asked what did the MRI showed. It was out. He had said that Witherspoon was going to be able to return to practice this week after he had said that about the imaging, and so he just said that the news was positive. He did not say he did not give a specific. It showed there's this or that. He just said that the result was positive. That he was moving in a positive direction. I think was the phrase he used. So I think we all just took it as, it didn't show anything significant. And, they haven't put him on IR or anything like that. I think if they thought it might be significant. That said, they have the bye after the Houston game. So I think with some of these, maybe they're like with Derek Hall, I think they're banking on this as an injury. He can make it back by mid-November, essentially. And you don't have to put him on IR, which would guarantee missing the 4 games, which, includes the bye. So, but yeah, what we heard about Witherspoon is that it was a contusion of his knee or of his MCL, and so I think they went in to do the imaging to see if it was worse than that, and it didn't sound like from what McDonald said, kind of sounds like it didn't reveal anything significant.
Has McDonald talked anything about this week, perhaps, Bob, hinting at thoughts on the pressure on the quarterback, changing anything up? From where he sits, how do you think he feels as the head coach and defensive coordinator about what he's getting from a pass rush perspective?
Yeah, no, definitely. He talked about that it wasn't what they needed it to be at all. He kind of gave the funny answer on Monday about the long pass of Baker Mayfield about Mayfield had way too many Mississippis back there waiting for it to come open. Where they got hamstrung the other day is they did have some injuries. And I should have mentioned DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be back this week, it sounds like. So that's a good one there. I forgot about that when we were talking about injuries, or I should have the list here. So DeMarcus Lawrence being back will kind of looking like he's going to be back, would kind of take the place of Derek Hall being out. But that still sort of puts you, you kind of have 3 of your top guys back there, and then you're kind of hoping for Mike Morris, and maybe they're going to have to make Jared Ivey or Connor O'Toole active again and see if they play. But yeah, where they got hamstrung last week though is, so they're not a big blitzing team anyway. They are last in the NFL, depending on which metric you look at. But if you go by Pro Football References blitz percentage, they're last in the NFL in blitz percentage at just about 14%. Mike Macdonald prefers not to have to do that if he doesn't have to. And the first 4 games of the year, they felt like they were getting a good enough 4-man rush, and their interior rush has been really good. I mean, I think they have 2.5 sacks out of both Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. And, they've got some good interior pressure. It's been more the edge pressure, obviously, that's been the issue. But again, the problem they had in the back, if you blitz more, you put your corners on an island, and you already were playing Nehemiah Pritchett a lot and Darian Kendrick a lot and stuff like that last week. And so I think they felt like they wanted to try not to do that. They were already having trouble defending them, and I think they felt like if we do anything more that way, you create even a better opportunity for them to maybe hit big plays if they pick them up. But I think that's one of those things I'm sure they assess this week, knowing how Mike Macdonald likes to tinker with everything. I'm sure he's looking and trying to see if they need to change up that philosophy a little bit and go that route. But that's where some of the uncertainty in the secondary, Julian Love is such a security blanket for them, in general in the secondary. He really does help clean up a lot of things. I think you've seen them missing him, a little bit. And I think that compels them a little bit to play it a little bit more conservatively when they don't have all their main guys back there. But again, we'll see on that front if they decide to change that up a little bit, bring a little bit more pressure this week. But yeah, it's definitely something Mike Macdonald has noted.
And I believe I read this correctly. He hinted this week that I think someone maybe asked him about Eamon Worry. He hinted this week that he could play kind of that deep safety position at fast, correct?
That's not how I took that. How I took his answer to that is he was trying not to say that he probably wouldn't do that.
Okay.
We never saw him do that during all the open practices. Whether
he was always in the box.
It's possible. Definitely, that's an option and a possibility. Is that they could put him back there and try to have him do that. I do think ideally they want to leave him in the role he's in. I think they feel like they've already asked a lot of him in learning what to do this year, and I don't know if they want to suddenly throw that on his plate a whole lot, but they might. It's certainly an option for them. I took his answer as he didn't want to go on record, not saying that. So the answer he got was, could he play deep safety? And he said, yes, he could play deep safety. I don't think he wants to give an answer of no, he can't.
No, he can't. So, we don't believe in him.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to say that. So I took it more the other way, but okay. I don't think it's their preference right now, simply because I think they feel like he's finally gotten healthy. He played well last week in the role that they asked him to do. And I think they feel like that's a really valuable thing for them. So I think they would prefer to leave him there. But yeah, if injury issues happen, I think it's definitely something they could go to. But they do have D'Anthony Bell, and I think they, maybe he would become a little bit more of an option for that. I do think, I think Tyokata played. I think he in general played fine last week. I just think the whole thing hasn't looked as good as it could have because they just have had so many missing parts. I mean, this will likely be another week when they won't have their full. They won't have what was their expected regular opening day lineup out there, which they've only had basically for 5 plays of one series against the 49ers when him and Worry got hurt. It's just sort of started this merry-go-round of guys being hurt in the back end and having to go with somebody new and in a different spot or whatever every week.
Perhaps before the season started, you'd think this game against Jacksonville would be like, oh, it's Jacksonville. They'll travel down there and come away with a relatively easy win, but Jacksonville has played much better this season. Kind of really the early surprise of the NFL season, especially what they've done here in the last 2 weeks, right, with wins over San Francisco and Kansas City. A much stiffer test, I think, for this team than they probably thought once the season started.
For sure, yeah, and Liam Cohen, the new coach there. You never know for sure when with a rookie head coach what you might be getting, and if it's going to be the Brian Callahan experience or something in Tennessee versus how quickly things are going to turn out. And it's kind of gone the other way in Jacksonville. I do know there was. They did have the couple of, I think they went 8-9 or 9-8 or whatever. Doug Peterson's overall record, I think, was 22-26. So it wasn't like he was inheriting a team with no talent. I do think people around the team thought Jacksonville has some talent and could do some things. If some the things kind of come together a little bit better. They've been really good at forcing turnovers. They've been really good at forcing fumbles and recovering fumbles. Those are fumbles in particular tend to really go up and down. They kind of tend to be fluky. Like the Seahawks don't have any fumbles this year, and they've kind of oddly not been able to recover a lot of fumbles the last couple of years. Who knows how long that'll last for Jacksonville? But it is a sign of playing aggressively on defense and being in position to make some plays. And if you watch the game Monday night, the Devin Lloyd pick six really turned everything around. And then it's interesting. Trevor Lawrence's numbers aren't really any better this year than they've been in the past. His passer rating is actually lower than his career rating. I think he's got a 6-5 touchdown to interception ratio. But he's looked like he's playing better, kind of in the clutch or kind of in the final moments of games, especially last week. The Kansas City game, and then they're running the ball pretty well. And then Travis Etienne is I think is averaging 5.8 yards per carry, and they're doing some good things there. So it's definitely going to be a tough game. As I think studying some gambling numbers at times in your life, historically teams that come off big wins on Monday night don't do so well on the following Sunday. At least in this case for Jacksonville, they don't have to travel. There's not travel involved. A lot of times teams that do that have to, maybe go on the road the following week or were on the road the week before. In Jacksonville's case, they've got to stay home for this couple games, so maybe they won't be too tired or whatever, but I'm sure the Seahawks will hope that there was kind of a hangover effect and maybe they didn't even start paying attention to this game until right now kind of thing in all the celebrating that was going on in Jacksonville. So we'll see. But yeah, you're right. On paper, it definitely looks like a tougher game than you thought. I think somewhere I wrote, if the Seahawks could get to 4-1 heading into this game, that they would really have a chance to that this game looked like, you could win that one and really make something. And unfortunately they're 3-2 as they head down there. And if you don't win this one, suddenly it looks like, who knows what the Rams and 49ers are going to do this week, obviously. So, so it's a dangerous game for sure.
The Last Word with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. Follow him on social media at @BCondotta. His weekly Friday appearance here on Puck Sports brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie's Zaffa, Rogers Pilsner, and Tavern Beer. Tasting room and beer garden open daily, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit georgetownbeer.com. Thank you, Bob. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jason. Yep, see you.
Big thanks to Bob Condotta again for joining us from the Seattle Times. The Last Word with Bob Condotta, again brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Rogers, Pilsner, and their new Tavern Beer. Again, check out their tasting room. It is open daily, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you missed any of Bob's appearance on the Daily Puck Drop and Puck Sports, you can watch and listen to it on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and find everything up at PuckSports.com. Also, a quick thing to pass along. If you are a Puck's Posse member, you may already be doing this, by the way. So if I'm announcing this, and you're like, thanks, Tips. I already know how to do that. If you are a Puck's Posse member, one thing that I know that frustrates me a little bit, if you are following podcasts like on Apple and Spotify, and then also if you have a Patreon like we have, where we put all of our bonus material and Puck Sports, and like you're going back and forth between the two apps on Apple and Spotify, you can just link the Puck's Posse bonus shows to both your Apple podcast platform on your phone and Spotify by just going into the app and copying the RSS feed. So to make it easy. So if you listen to podcasts on Apple, or it's on Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you're on, you can sync up the Puck's Posse shows. So you get KJ Arntz that just go all into the same podcast home that you have on your phone. And so you're not having to toggle back and forth. For those who don't know, you can email me, and I can explain further if you'd like. Puckett, PuckSports.com. So big thanks to Bob. Let's get on out of here. It is Hey What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages do affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Well, here it is. Monday, we're talking about, hopefully, we're not even talking about Game 5 if they win, because there's going to be a Game 1 of the ALCS to recap, because that's what will start there on Sunday. Maybe we'll bring it up and how fun it was that they won, or we're talking about the aftermath of them losing at home. Either way, the Mariners have earned their situation tonight based on how they have played all season long. Again, that situation they've earned is to host a Game 5 at home in front of your crowd. You know, we don't talk about home field advantage enough in baseball. That's more of a football thing, but there is very much a home field advantage for this crowd, and the noise and the energy that you and everyone else can bring to them on the field tonight carries over. They play so well at home. They have all season long. I love Game 5s. I know we're doing it yesterday with Mitch, KJ Arntz. He's going to be a mess today watching or listening to this game. This, for me, I mean, I hope they win. This is why I love it. I love sports. It's it. This is it. It's Game 5. It's an elimination game. Weird things happen. Bad breaks are going to happen. There's going to be a missed call that's going to leave you wanting to throw something at your TV or, yell at a stranger in the stadium. The ebbs and flows of it tonight. The living and dying on every single pitch, your heart rate going through the roof. God, it's the best. It's why nothing can compare to sports. Nothing. You don't get this same energy out of anything. And I love the music and the arts and all of that. It's great. But nothing is like this. Nothing compares in the world. It should be phenomenal. Jealous of everyone that's going to be inside that stadium tonight. Wish I was there with you. We'll be on a football practice field with the game blaring on the radio. Bring your A game. Gary Hill and Rick Riz and Goldsmith, we're going to need you tonight. It's going to be fun. Enjoy it, whether you're there or at home. That is Hey What the Puck, again, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Give them a call, 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Big thanks to everybody watching and listening to today's show and all week long, as always. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, Limbeck Lumber, Georgetown Brewery, and, of course, Restoration One. To gym sponsors, by the way, Clean Streak, Brotherton Cadillac, and Angry Beaver. Today's Daily Puck Drop, find it up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms. And, of course, everything at PuckSports.com. When you're there, sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. For just $5 a month, you support all the free content. In addition, we give you bonus shows every single week. Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy, The Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson. Of course, now we produce the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast released on Mondays. Everybody enjoy Friday. Hopefully they come out on the other end victorious, and we'll talk about game number 1 of the ALCS. Enjoy it. Go M's. We will talk to you on Monday. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to love. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!